just a really wonderful but very simple lesson. Where darkness was, I look upon the light. And when I was thinking about this lesson tonight, all I could think about was this. I kept hearing this song in my mind, this old song, not old, but older song by Johnny Nash. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. And so I looked it up. I can see all, come on, sing along, obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. Anyway, but I thought to myself, that is exactly what this lesson is talking about. I thought about what, and I actually Googled it. Isn't Google wonderful? I mean, you can Google this stuff. I can get the words, make sure I've known, because it says here, here's that rainbow I've been praying for, in the second page. So, oh, yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All the bad feelings have disappeared. Here's that rainbow I've been praying for. It's going to be a bright, shiny day. Anyway, and then it says, look straight ahead. Look all around. There's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead. There's nothing but blue skies. And I thought, that's very metaphysical in what we're talking about. It's always, when you have a storm, the sun will come out. Well, tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. All of these songs that can kind of bring us to this truth. I mean, this is a great song. I can see all the obstacles in my way. See, that song was just like this lesson is not about denying the obstacles you have in your life, because that's not going to work. There was a time when some of our metaphysical teachings might have said, this isn't real, and basically deny the things that are going on in life. There was an aspect, I think, of mistaken New Age thinking that was kind of positive thinking that really was a sense of denial about the world. The Course never says, is never in denial about the world. It just says it doesn't exist. So it says it doesn't exist, but it says you believe in something that doesn't exist, and therefore for you it does exist. And see, that's a very sophisticated thinking, because it says now you need to look at the things you think exist, whether or not they do exist. They have power over you because you believe they do. And that's kind of like, I don't know what you think about witchcraft, but I mean, if you watch those movies about witchcraft, or you watch those movies about, what's the Jamaican one, voodoo, it's always the belief system of the people that had more of the, that caused more of the problems than was the religion of it. The voodoo, which is considered a religion, or witchcraft, which is considered a religion. I mean, those were never meant to harm people. They were meant to be helpful. It's just movies and media that like to make it little dolls that we stick pins into, or, all these other things that we do. But, the point of this is the Course would say, you've got to see all the obstacles in your way and move past them by focusing on the light. And that's the beauty of the Course. It says, look clearly at this. Because if you look clearly at this, it will not have the power over you that it did when you held it in the darkness. As long as you hold it in the darkness, it has power over you. You bring it to the light, and darkness is no more. And that's what it is for all of these issues in our lives. Whether we're going through a physical issue, whether we're going through a mental issue, emotional issue, that we need to deal with, whether it's a financial issue, people who bring these things into the light make a huge difference. Our son, Jeffrey, loves to watch John Oliver on HBO. This half-hour show about, he's like a news guy but it's always comedy news, but it's news. And he really addresses important issues. And we love watching it with Jeffrey because he gets such a big kick out of it, and he learns so much at the same time. He addressed the problem of companies who buy bad loans or bad debt from banks and other places, and then they buy it like 50 cents on the dollar or $4.50 for $100, extremely cheap, and then they harass these people. And whatever money they get is just found money, because they paid, maybe for a $5,000 loan, they bought it for 50 cents. And so they're just going to harass you and maybe get the $5,000 out of you. And there's no period of where a loan is forgiven. You know that, what's that called? A period of, well, not a grace period, but the ones where if you let something go too long, statute of limitation. There it is. There's no statute of limitation on financial debt. They can come after you 20, 30 years later if they want to. So they find this old trash stuff, and they can come back at you to get that from you. So John Oliver decided he'd buy all this up, and then he forgave it. He forgave, I think it was $9 million worth of debt. And he was doing it to prove a point that this is really what we should be doing with this silliness that instead of selling it to somebody else to only harass people, and they showed how they harassed and some of the undercover footage they have of how terribly they harass people. But again, what happens in debt is we get afraid of it. What happens in illness, we get afraid of it. And so we don't want to look at it. We don't want to deal with the issue. It's much easier not to look at the problems in my life than to deal with them. And this is why we continue to have more and more problems. This says, where darkness was, I look upon the light. I'm done denying this stuff. I'm going to look at it. Now, the beauty is, from the course's perspective, by the time you get to lesson 300, you hopefully have been developing a spiritual muscle where you're walking hand in hand with Jesus, that God is your partner, that you trust that there is a power within you in the Holy Spirit that can help you look at this situation and circumstance, not in a way that diminishes you, but in a way that uplifts you and helps you to move through it. And that's what this is about. Where darkness was, I look upon the light. Father, our eyes are opening at last. No longer are we going to be in denial of the things that are going on in our lives. We're going to look clearly at them, whether they're difficult relationships, whether they're challenging financial problems, whether they're challenging physical issues, whatever they may be. You fill in the blank of what it is that's going on in your life. We're going to look clearly at it, not to condemn ourselves, but to take the hand of the Holy Spirit and see the light. We are going to open our eyes, just like this great song said. I can see clearly now because all the chaos, the rain is gone, all the tears, the bad feelings I have to look at it, that's going to be gone. I want to see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind, because I'm going to see only a bright sunshine. Yeah, well, we're not very good at this yet. We have to work on that, you guys. But anyway, we're working on it, yeah. We're working on it. Our eyes are opening to it. Father, our eyes are opening at last. Your holy world awaits us as our sight is finally restored and we can see. But your holy world cannot await us. Our sight cannot be finally restored and we can see if we're not looking. So we need to look. We need to be clearly looking at this. But here's the tough part, and that's why having this be around lesson 300 is good. Because unless you quickly turn to the Holy Spirit as you look at these things, or invite him to share your vision with him, or him share his vision with you, if you look at the challenging things of your life, you're going to feel guilty. If you look at the painful things of your life, you're going to feel guilty as you look. And what this is saying is, we're not going to look at it so that we can feel guilty. We're going to look at it so we can see the light. So we do have to look at the things that we have done. We do have to look at the things we have said or the mistakes we have made, so that we can look through them to the light. That's very important for us to do. That is, if you will, our amends. The course does not talk about judging ourselves, but it does talk about correcting our perception. And to me, that's what making an amends is. That's what forgiveness is correcting our perception. So we do have to look and perhaps see the darkness and move past it to the light beyond. That's making your amends. That's your forgiveness process. I think that's very important for us. Our holy world awaits us as our sight is finally restored and we can see. That's how we see, as by looking and moving through it with the help of the Holy Spirit, with the help of our Father, with the help of Christ. We thought we suffered, it says. We thought we suffered. We thought everything we saw brought us pain and suffering. But it says what? But we had forgotten the Son whom you created. Now, here's 4 steps in here that brings us out of this, that helps us to look upon the light. And the first one should be an old friend of yours by now. If you've been working with the course for a while, you're going to hear this one all the time. We've forgotten who we are, right? We've forgotten who we are. Our biggest problem is we've forgotten who we are. So it should not surprise us at all that the first step in this is to remember who you are. So number 1, we had forgotten the Son whom you created. That's the biggest thing. We have forgotten who we are. Who are we? Children of darkness or children of light? Light, because it's going to be a bright right side shining day. I know, bright sun will come out tomorrow. I mean, you've got two songs going here, and I know I got you confused there, but it's bright, okay? Right. But we had forgotten the Son whom you created. The truth about us, the light that abides within us. We need to know that. And that's why so many of these early workbook lessons are all about remembering who you are. You know, light and joy and peace abide in me. Holiness created me holy. Love created me loving. Peace created me peaceful. These incredibly beautiful lessons. I am as God created me. Spirit am I, a holy child of God. Free of all limits, you know, safe, healed, and whole. You know, all of these great thoughts affirming the truth about us. And yet, when tough times come, we forget that. And we think we're unworthy. We think we're bad. We think we're, because of where are those issues coming from? Where do those judgments come from? The past. Yeah, the past. The ego. Because the ego lives where? The ego lives in your past. The ego lives in wanting to reinforce in you all the mistakes. Because when you make a mistake, I'm sure your ego mind says, well, there you go again. There you go again. You know, naturally that would be you, right? Naturally you would say that, or naturally that would, because this always happens to you, right? Have you heard those things in your head? Yeah, what's that? My mother. Yeah, my mother, you know, that would tell me that. You know, naturally, these things that play in the back of our minds from our past. It says, but it is now time to look at that and not give them any power. The past only has the power that we give it. The past only perpetuates in the future. It skips right by the now. Only perpetuates in the future because it knows you're going to do it again. If you did it before and you're doing it now, you're going to screw up tomorrow. The sun will not come out tomorrow. The screw up will come out tomorrow because, you know, you'll screw up. But this is because we don't look and see the insanity of that. This is insane. You are who? I have forgotten I am the Son whom God created, and God did not create a screw up. He created like himself. You are created by your Father, and light and joy and peace abide in you. You are the Son he loves. Now, can we make mistakes? Yes. And how do we make amends for those mistakes? Looking at them clearly and giving them no more power over us. Allowing the Holy Spirit to look at them with us so that we might see how we may move from the darkness to the light. And that's what it says. It'll answer you. You go, that sounds really pretty. But the Course says this will answer you in very specific ways that help you now.